My name is Deanie Ferrell. I'm married to Curtis Ferrell. He is the Director of Missions in Calhoun City, so I'm a part of his ministry, and I am a byproduct of the Baptist Children's Village. I knew the Lord before I went to the Children's Village. I accepted Christ when I was 9 years old, and that was only because a friend invited me to church, and I ran down an aisle to accept Jesus. I did not know what being a Christian was all about, but I knew that I needed to be loved. And at that point in my life, I didn't know of anybody who loved me, but I knew if Jesus would love me, that would make me the happiest person in the world. When I went to the Baptist Children's Village, I felt complete relief. I could, for the first time in my life, go to school on a regular basis. Every evening or morning we had a devotional and prayer time. And then what was really special to me was our Wednesday night gatherings for prayer meeting. Because I asked Mr. Nunnery if I could have a music teacher. And it wasn't long before he hired Jan Nix. And Jan just turned that campus upside down with music. I was a soloist, I was in treble teams, I was in choir, and really that's how I learned to meet people. Because when I first went to the Baptist Children's Village, I couldn't even look at people in the eye. I was so ashamed of my background. I felt like somehow it was my fault. I was called to ministry when I was 15 years old. Didn't know what God wanted me to do, but I knew God was calling me to ministry. When I met my husband to be, Curtis Ferrell, and Curtis and I were always involved in BSU and church activities before we married. And then once we married, it was clear that we would go into mission somewhere.
Part of our background before we went overseas was there at Broadmoor Baptist Church. Deanie and I were involved with the Spanish-speaking people there.
Yes.
And for almost 6 years, I was the Spanish minister there. So going to Ecuador and speaking Spanish continuously was not something that was just a sudden thing for Deanie. It was something that we've been working towards and been involved in Spanish ministry in the States for several years before we went.
Curtis was gone a lot. He was involved, he was responsible for churches like 5 hours apart. I mean, they were extremely busy. We went there, he knew the language, he just picked right up and ran with it. And I was primarily a homemaker. I just had to spend a lot of time at home. My children were, my oldest was 4 years old and my youngest was 1 year old. So I had to be in the home a lot. So my ministry had to be from the home to the local church. I could not go with Curtis on these long, dangerous trips.
His love for music and the way that she's expressed herself and helped others with that is something that's come from her time at the village. And
yes.
And the training she got there and the folks that really encouraged her, that's shown through in her ministry since then.
If I had not been at the village, none of this would have been possible. What I have learned at the Baptist Children's Village has stayed with me. It is the foundation of my life. We know that changing one life at the Baptist Children's Village changes lives for a generation. What I